All right, good evening, folks. Welcome to Monday Night Law here on Kirk's Law Corner. Just wanted to say that broadcasting live on YouTube again tonight. So, YouTube, Rumble, Facebook, and Telegram. Giving it a shot with YouTube there. I saw Trump's post there stating that YouTube had to recant on any kind of talking about election fraud. So we'll give it a whirl tonight on YouTube. So for those of you out there on YouTube, welcome back. Of course, been broadcasting live on Rumble and still the Facebook page, and of course on Telegram. So I warned everybody out there that if things went down on YouTube to look elsewhere. And I put that on my website, all the links to that stuff. So hopefully some of you from YouTube caught that. But I know there's a lot of people on my YouTube channel. So, well, what a crazy time, huh? Before I forget again, so I apologize for this. I want to do a shout out to some of the people down there in the Weber County, Utah, Weber County Patriots that came up for the hearing. My hearing there before I left on vacation. So, apologize for that, not giving the shout out to you folks down there. But thank you again for showing up to not so much of a hearing. Funny how the judge kind of backpedaled on that. But anywho's. Again, thanks again for showing up all the way from Weber County, Utah. And I've been super busy around my house, outside working on the yard and my stuff, getting stuff cleaned up, throwing stuff away. But a lot of crazy stuff going on out there, folks. How many times I have to say it, how many times other people have to say it. We are at world war. This is a military operation. Most of us are not in the need to know what's going on. That's just the harsh reality here, folks. Okay? I've been laying this stuff out as it was coming out back in October 2017. For those that have followed me that long, know what I'm talking about. When Trump did the proclamation, December 10th, 2017, proclaiming the rule of law, back to the Constitution, the Bill of Rights. I've gone over that a couple more times since then, easily a couple times. Even went over it in my educational series. So, Executive Order 13818 is the most crucial executive order worldwide. Not the 13848, the one about foreign interference in a federal election. That's not the key. No. Now, granted, there's some stuff from that executive order dealing with foreign interference in a federal election. I'm not denying that. But pressing the importance on that executive order is not. That was done in 2018. Executive Order 13818 was done December 20th, 2017. And that one has been extended, and more than likely be extended again this December. Now, some things that people need to understand, comprehend, and understand, literally, stand in agreement, that you know this. That there's a separation between the president and the commander-in-chief. It's two different persons, essentially. Best way to describe that is a person, an actor. And I've showed this before under Article 4, Section 4, Guaranteed Republican Form of Government. That this is a political argument, not a judicial one. In Luther versus Borden, that's what it refers there. But this is a political argument, not a judicial one. Judicial branch doesn't have any jurisdiction, most commonly referred to as subject matter jurisdiction. But complete jurisdiction, none. Judicial branch has zero when it comes to this kind of stuff. Election, anything to do with elections, the legislature has all of the power. I've showed Lex Parliamentary Americana on this. I did a special video on it, a couple different videos on it. I've laid this down. Nothing's going to happen through the judicial branch regarding the elections. It's already been documented. They already know. They already have it all. Okay? So to sit here and play this game that something's going to happen through the judicial branch is ridiculous. Okay? Now getting into Texas v. White. Now this is where the continuity of government and all this good stuff that Derek Johnson talks about, that I will admit, I didn't see that stuff because that was before I was starting to pay attention with the executive order stuff. That was the very, very, very beginning of 2017. The Texas v. White makes the clear distinction between the president and commander-in-chief. And he was talking about the president only acting as commander-in-chief has the power to set up provisional government. Now pay attention. Pending the outcome of the war. Okay. So let's break that down so Grandma can understand it. It means the man acts as commander-in-chief of the military and conducts military operations, or also known as executive orders. Because those are orders from the commander-in-chief to execute the law that the legislature already promulgated. Okay? And then some of the powers belonging to the commander-in-chief are long antecedent to the formation of government. And I'll take you, again, clear back to 1553 with the Merchant Marines. And this is the civil power. Now, this is where Derek Johnson clearly doesn't know what he's talking about. Although it's in every single state constitution that the military is subordinate to the civil power. And the Merchant Marines have been around much longer. Again, 1553. Since the Army was created. And in fact, the Merchant Marines were called on just a few days before the Army was created. There's another fact of law, tidbit in history of how this all started in 1776. Continental Congress in 1774. See, the Army wasn't created until, what was it, June? I want to say it was June 12th, 1776. But we need to comprehend this power belonging to the civil power, the militia being necessary, right? A well-regulated militia being necessary for the security of a free state. That's Second Amendment. Absolutely. And it says militia. Well, we go back to the Virginia Declaration of Rights, June 12th, 1776, that the militia is composed of the body of the people, which is why the second part of the Second Amendment says the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Because the militia is the body of the people. First and foremost, every single military member comes from the body of the militia. That's the organized, that well-regulated militia is the military. So there's three parts to the militia. The organized militia, federal military, organized by the state militia, military, and then the unorganized by state or federal militia is the people. And this right goes clear back to the law of nations, laws of nature, Blackstone's commentaries on the law as a fundamental right from the laws of nature, naturally, fundamentally, principally, the right of self-defense. It's one of the 6 primitive laws of nature, which I've showed this before. The Bruin case, Second Amendment case, went all the way to the Supreme Court of the United States. And they referred to Blackstone's commentaries on the law of England. And what did they say there? Oh, well, yeah, it's the right of self-defense comes from nature. That would be the law of nature. That body of law, the unwritten law, lex non scripta. They're supposed to be self-evident. Ignorance of that law is no excuse. No man on the face of this earth can claim they don't know about the laws of nature. That's a fact. That's the ignorance of that law. You cannot claim ignorance of that law. It's supposed to be self-evident. Again, that's my go-to is, do you have to hit your thumb with a hammer to know that it's going to hurt? It's common sense law. It's already the law at its root. Of all law, that is the root of all law, the laws of nature. Fundamentally and principally. Worldwide. You see over here, Michael out here on Rumble. How's it going, brother? Good to see you. And Diesel D's, that may actually be part of the movie, right? With what Diesel's saying here is the thinking that the Brunson and the Kerry Lake are purposely going through the judicial to slow drip all the cheating to the public. Absolutely. And again, there it is again. You know, I've tried to reach out to Kerry Lake. I've had 2 different meetings with Darren Brunson and try to explain this, facts of law, laid it down, and they still don't get it. Still trying to go through the judicial branch. And they keep telling them, lack of standing and lack of subject matter jurisdiction. They overlook the second part of their dismissal. Okay, so the judicial branch in that particular case have been told 5 times no jurisdiction. 5 times. You still don't get it. Brother Rob, how are you, brother? Good to see you. Saw some of your fishing pictures there. Nice catches there, brother. Good times. So, a lot of this stuff that's going on, again, is behind the scenes. We're not getting to see all of this stuff. It's a military operation. U.S. Marshals are heavily involved. Now, military-wise, internationally, yes, can guarantee you that. You know, and I keep seeing stuff like, oh, you know, the military's going to activate on Memorial Weekend and all this stuff. You know, I've been hearing this kind of crap for years. And the fact is, it's already happening, right? It's already going down. London, Vatican, D.C. I mean, that should have been one of the biggest things everybody saw was the 3 fences going up January 20th around the White House there in D.C. And then the military comes in and let's see, I don't know, 20,000 to 40,000, whatever, military service members were deputized as U.S. Marshals. Now, if they're already in the military and under oath, what the heck do they need to be deputized as U.S. Marshals for? U.S. Marshals is part of the civil power. And part of that, again, goes back to the Law of War Manual, 11.3 there, a belligerent occupation. It is a foreign occupied territory after the election there. So there is something to that Executive Order 13848 there, dealing with that. But it's much deeper than just that executive order. Still, goes back to the Executive Order 13818. those involved in serious human rights abuse and corruption worldwide. You're getting busted. No, U.S. Marshals are not a different jurisdiction and different powers. No. The military is subordinate to the civil power. Subordinate means it's beneath, below. It's not above the civil power. I don't know how many people know about the U.S. Marshals. It's all done by the people. They're all private. That's right, privately owned businesses. Just saying. You know, this, we need to comprehend who has what powers here. And this is the separation of powers. And the fact is what we're really dealing with here is the military-industrial complex versus the U.S. Marshals and the White Hats military. So the military that we see today is still, in a sense, being controlled by the deep state to a certain extent. Okay, there's a lot of bad actors within the quote-unquote military. The military-industrial complex, because see, that's how that was all set up with London, Vatican, and D.C., that Americans were used as the world military, world police. Okay? So, as much as everybody would like to believe, including myself, would believe that Trump was commander-in-chief when he got in there and he was in control of all of the military, make no mistake, full of deep staters. Full of bad actors. Okay? This stuff is going to take some time to take down. Worldwide. And like I've said before, Ukraine is one of the biggest things we can look at because that is the world hub for everything. You know, they took over the regime back in the government back in the early 90s. Okay, it's been just total chaos over there since then because that's how they wanted it. That's their little haven, their hideout. It's where they've been doing most of their work out of. Money laundering, again, human trafficking, men, women, and children for whatever purposes you can think of. Arms, drugs, biolabs, anything and everything you can think of out of the Ukraine. It's the world hub for everything. It's what they've been using it for. Okay, and some of this stuff is coming out in the reports from Congress and the Oversight Committee there, doing the research and putting it out a little bit at a time on what they found on Hunter Biden's. They keep saying laptop. There was 2. Okay, but again, much bigger. And even Trump come out and admitted it and said, look, this is much bigger than we thought. And I get a lot of people's frustration about, well, we haven't seen anything yet and nothing's really happening. And I get your frustration because we're not getting to see it. So if we're not seeing it, it's not happening. Not true. No. There have been lots of things going on for a long time. No, flat out. FBI, CIA, those were all unlawfully created by presidents. And again, a well-regulated militia being necessary for the security of a free state. Okay, but this is what's being exposed. Is the FBI, the DOJ, the CIA, all these 3-letter agency alphabet soup, they're all going to go away. It's just now being shown to the people how corrupt they really are. And if you're paying attention, you're seeing it. If you didn't know already. But it doesn't change the fact that it's coming out and they're showing us, I don't get why they didn't jump on the whole fraudulent FISA warrant fake dossier to begin with when they came out and knew it was fake, and he testified there in front of the House Oversight Committee. Said, yeah, I was paid by the Clinton Foundation and the DNC to write this fake dossier. That's what was used to get the FISA warrant in this whole Russia-Trump collusion. And what? Oh yeah, it was Trump and Russia colluding, interfering with the election when it was them. Right? They just got caught off guard. They really didn't think Trump was going to win. I'm sure some of you at least have seen some of the video clips of, somebody's put some of these video clips together of mainstream media and stuff like that, and that night of the 2017 election there, where Trump got elected. They were freaking out, crying and whining and bitching and moaning. Yep. Peter Strzok. God, I can't remember some of their names. Is it James Comey and Clinton, and some of the text messages and stuff, and all that stuff that was going on at that time has leaked out. So this is, this stuff is there. If you want to search for it, you want to find it, you want to see it, you want to educate yourself and open up your own eyes, highly recommend it. But those of us that are like myself who have seen it, who have talked about it over and over and over again for years. Okay? And, I was going to say Lisa Page. I think she was one of them. Yeah, Bruce Orr, Neely Orr. Okay, folks. A comment here. So why is Hillary still walking the streets? Have you personally ran into her? Shook her hand? Talked to her? We're not aware about fake news. We're not aware about technology, CGI. We're not aware of clones or actors putting on a mask. Makes it look like them. Remember when Hillary did her little stumble thing and they were trying to help her into the SUV there, and supposedly she got sick and had to go over there and stay at her daughter's house down the road? Yep, that's when she was arrested. That was an arrest being made. That's what that was, and she didn't want to go. Okay? A lot of these people have already been arrested and executed. Now, here was one of those things that I put out there a while ago. How is it the DOJ was trying to stop Trump from doing executions where he had already done like 13 executions? Did y'all miss that one? Probably. That one wasn't in the mainstream media, now was it? But how does the DOJ try to stop Trump from doing executions if the executions aren't happening? Doesn't make any logical sense now, does it? You can't stop something from happening that isn't happening. So it has to be happening in order for the DOJ to freak out and try to stop Trump from doing executions. But the military, the real military commander-in-chief and what's Trump has put together, they don't care. They're not listening to them. They're not in charge. They're really not. That's who we're at war with. So, again, a lot of these people have already been arrested and executed. Whether you believe that or not is irrelevant. Okay? You want to remain with your head buried in the sand, so be it. For a fact, that's what's going on. Has been going on for quite some time now. And I get that some of you are just now waking up to the tidbit, right? But for people like myself and anybody who's been following me for any length of time knows that I know what's going on, at least to a certain extent. Now, do I have firsthand knowledge of these executions? No. Nope, sure don't. But because I was following along clear back to 2016 and Trump's campaign trail, I was blown away because, for those of you who followed me long enough, remember when I said, hey, I didn't particularly care for Trump before the election stuff, okay? Technically speaking, I couldn't stand him trying to watch that, what was it, the Apprentice or whatever. Anywho, I listened to him on his campaign trail, and given all the rabbit holes that I'd been down, holy crap, he knows about this, he knows about that, and he was giving out hints all throughout his campaign trail that he knew about the World Child Pedophilia Ring, that he knew about the satanic rituals, he knew about the corruption in government. And again, if you didn't know anything about that stuff, you would not have caught what he was saying. Because a lot of times it was just a couple of words, short phrase, one sentence. And if you had no idea, you would have never caught it. So I personally got blown away with what Trump was saying on his campaign trail. And I'm like, holy crap, okay, this guy really does know some stuff. He knows what's up. And that's what's been going on. And again, this started in 2015 before Trump. And these were the good guys, the very little few that were left in the military. Originally, we're going to do a coup on Obama. And that one video out there, I can't remember the man's name, he was at speaking at some event or something, and he laid this all out. And how it got to, what they were going to do and how they elicited Trump's help. Otherwise, we would have had one hell of a civil war right from the gate. Probably right there around 2015. Okay? So instead of having a serious worldwide bloodbath, they decided to go this route. And trying to do what they can do to take out the bad actors worldwide. And some of the things that I want to try to remind people of or let people know is that Trump was doing treaties of peace. Now, how do you do a treaty of peace with any nation or country if we're not at war? Doesn't make any logical sense now, does it? Can't have one without the other. You most certainly can't do a treaty of peace unless you're at war. Fundamentally and principally. So this, again, pay attention, folks. You got to wake up. Whether you go do the research for yourself or you listen to people like us who have already been down the rabbit holes, have already been down the executive orders, the law of war manual, the amendments to the manual for courts martial that Trump dug up from 1984, made amendments to that. The law of war manual was actually updated in 2015 and then again in 2016 to deal with this, to deal what we're dealing with worldwide. And yes, Putin is on board, has been for quite some time. It's just a matter of time, folks, and it's going to take time, right? This is not going to happen overnight. And I get, even myself, some days I I struggled with this as well. So trust me, you're not the only one. And given the knowledge that I have and the couple of sources that I have, knowing what's actually happening, given the information I'm getting about what they're actually doing, which they really can't come right out and tell me a whole lot. I kind of have to read between the lines. But, I'm kind of got a smart thinker up here. I can read between the lines and figure things out pretty easy. Read the writing on the wall. Okay? So, you can listen to people like us that have been in this for quite a few years now. I mean, essentially for me, we're coming up on 6 years, right? Since 2017. See, 2018, 2019, 20, 21, 22, 23. Yeah, 6 years plus. So, again, I get it. The frustration out there of, well, why hasn't this been done yet or that been done yet? Da, 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 da. Who says it hasn't? You're saying that it hasn't because you're not aware of it. I get it. I get the frustration and angst of all of this. But again, this is something that's been going on worldwide for a very long time. We're just repeating history, except for this time. This is going to be a big deal. This is a big deal. And I mean really big deal. Like taking down the 12 families that have been essentially ruling the world for a couple thousand years. This is not something new, folks. Not at all. And a lot of it, and I know you Catholics out there have made your comments about, well, I don't take kindly about being, about the Catholics. Well, do your own research. They're filled with a bunch of sick frickin' pedophiles. And, hate to be the bearer of bad news there, but don't shoot the messenger. Roman Catholic Church, the Jesuits, okay? This has all been going on for very, very, clear back to 400 BC. Now, there's another man out there I talk to who tells me about some of the alien stuff that he's got some first-hand knowledge of. And I am not going to begin to even try and talk about that kind of stuff. One, I'm just not well versed in it. Okay? But I'm aware of it. But here's one of those times that I admit that I don't know something, which again, I don't have a problem admitting that I don't know something, nor admitting that I may be wrong and have the ability to learn something. The going joke I got is, well, hey, learn something new every day. Well, guess what I learned today? What I learned today is what I learned yesterday was wrong. I'm not perfect, but pretty firm on the things that I do know. So there's a lot of stuff going on. Okay, somebody else knows about it. Reptilian vampire families. Yeah, we're dealing with reptilians and what we call aliens, the Greys, and there's all sorts of different kinds of aliens and secret treaties to get technology and all sorts of crazy stuff that to the average man or woman out there worldwide would think I'm crazy just even mentioning this stuff. And some days it's hard for me to take in. But I've had some very detailed and lengthy conversations with this man. And I'm not going to drop his name or anything because of the things that he's been into and how he got blackballed and had his life threatened. So I don't want to bring any more rain down on him that he already has. But that's just how corrupt the people are out there. They don't want the people to know, the general population worldwide. They don't want them to know. Right? They don't want us to know about all this crazy, what sounds like it's crazy, alien stuff. No, I'm having first-hand conversations with this man. And David Wilcox or Art Bell is neither one of them people. So, there's a whole nother twist to all of this stuff going on with so-called deep underground military bases. Yes, those are there. But there's a lot more stuff. And Gene Decode put some of this stuff out many years ago now. And that's when he was like, I watched some of his stuff, 3-4 years ago. And he was showing the different layers, maps of different layers of these tunneling. And there was like 3 different layers of tunneling. And I'm just like, whoa, okay, it's pretty overwhelming, considering I didn't know a whole lot about it. So I have a pretty open mind, right? You show me some evidence and I can take it in and I can process it. There's a lot of people out there that can't do that. It's just too overwhelming for their minds to grasp the concept, the reality of that could be true. And then try to apply that to what's going on or what has been going on for, say, 4,000 years. So there's just a lot to try and take in, all these different variables, and then to believe it, to apply it. I've asked him, Diesel D's, I've asked him if he wants to come on. And, no, not at this time. It's not safe for him to come out and talk about some of the crazy ass stuff that we talk about. And he provides some pieces of the puzzle that I never thought even existed. And sheds new light. And again, like I've said before, it's like I've been working on a 10,000 piece puzzle since 1995. And some days I feel like I got, 8,000 pieces of this puzzle together. I'm getting it. And then somebody like him comes along and, throws a couple pieces of the puzzle my way. And it's like, wait a minute. Okay. I'm back down here to 4,000 or 5,000 pieces out of a 10,000 piece puzzle where I thought I had 8,000. This has happened many times, learning stuff from other people or just particularly doing my own research, finding new tidbits and pieces of the puzzle, and it's like, oh crap, this thing's much bigger than the picture that I'm seeing now. So, I guess I don't blame you people for not knowing, because it's pretty well hidden. You're not going to be able to just find this stuff. And especially nowadays, some of this stuff was out there 2010, 2012, 2014 era, was finding all sorts of stuff on YouTube, all sorts of videos on YouTube. Yeah, all sorts of good stuff out there. And, I could show you my YouTube channel, my saved videos, right? And you go in there and you can see all these videos deleted, 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 deleted. And most of those were the ones that had to deal with like some of the alien stuff, some of the family of 12, the 300. The Clinton Chronicles. I don't know. I had to download that one like 3 different times, or save it 3 different. I should start downloading these videos, or figuring out how to get them. But nope, not John Ridge either. No, I highly doubt many people are even going to know who this man is. I agree, and I've asked him a couple of different times if he'd be willing to come on and just call in. No, he doesn't have to show his face or anything like that. But this man worked around people like Dr. Fauci. Okay, he's up there in age. He's approximately about in his 80s. He knows a lot of stuff about the medical industry, or the fraudulent medical industry, the false crap about medicine, pharmaceutical drugs, AIDS, that viruses don't exist. Confirming this is the field that he worked in. Confirming some of my own findings, and listening to like Robert Kennedy Jr. Talking about no viruses exist, right? And I have a plethora of FOIA requests and response, including my own from Idaho, for proof of COVID-19's existence, and there's no such proof. As well as a plethora of FOIA requests and response for like the Zika virus, the AIDS virus. It doesn't actually exist. It only exists on paper and in people's minds, like JFK Jr. said, or Robert Kennedy Jr. said. It only exists on paper and in people's minds. Those patents and that kind of stuff. It only exists on paper. Everything else is it's a bioweapon. It's a biological weapon. Okay, they're trying to kill off the population. People like Bill Gates and Dr. Fauci. Some of those people go clear back for a long ways. Okay. So, yeah, this guy has some pretty damn good insight and first-hand knowledge, because he was in there. In fact, he was one of the ones that did some research on the so-called AIDS virus, and when he discovered it didn't actually exist, that's when they're like, you got to go, and that's when part of his life turned for the worse, when he was like saying, hey, that's not right. I can't find this over here, and da-da-da-da-da. So I can't even begin to talk like this man talks. Just saying. Okay? This has all been that, the Georgia Guidestones. We've got to keep us population limited down to 500 million people. And oh my gosh, we're way overpopulated and the earth can't support it. They put the writing on the walls out there. They told us what they were doing, that they were going to try and, get rid of stuff, get rid of people, kill people off. And it's been in the works for a long time, much longer than we think about, say, COVID-19 stuff, 2019. Much longer. And you go back almost 50 years. Okay? We throw the pharmaceutical industry in there as well. there really isn't any pharmaceutical drug that cures anything. It's all synthetic because, one, you can't patent nature. That's right. So if you find a patent for COVID-19, it's shit made up because you can't patent nature. And again, it only exists on paper. Like you can patent an idea, a theory. Right? You can patent that. I didn't know if you guys knew that or not, but you can patent an idea. Even if you can't make it work, you can still patent the idea. So, part of, what vaccines were intended for to begin with. That's what I'm saying. We got to go back like 50 plus years. We're induced under fear. Oh, chicken pox and measles, mumps, rubella, and all this stuff. Oh yeah, we got a vaccine for that now. It's poison, folks. All of it. Every last bit of it is poison. And what it really gets down to is it is fungus, parasites. Now, just repeating what I've learned from other people, including the one man I've talked to for a few years now. But one gentleman I talked with, he explained to me like, we're just like a large petri dish. We're just a bunch of fungus. And this is why we get sick, is because we get certain toxicity levels in our bodies based on food, the food we eat. A lot of it has to do with sugar, and given all the poisons they put in our food, and then the stuff they're spraying in the air. Now, they figured out how to put this fungus or parasites, bacteria, in the air and spray it in the air and cause the people to get sick. Even so far as at your local mall, your shopping stores, all this stuff. They put it in the ventilation system. You happen to go to the mall on a certain day, they decide to release this bacterial fungus parasite in the ventilation system and pump it throughout the mall. You may be one of the lucky ones that got it. And you got sick. But then that's what cancer is. It's essentially all of it is a fungal, bacterial, parasitic infection. That's it. There's nothing else. They label it as cancer. This is all fear, right? It's all fear-based. And put fear in us to run to the nearest doctor and get the latest drug or vaccine or whatever it is. But it's going to be some sort of pharmaceutical drug. And that's what's out there, right? That's why this was created. The pharmaceutical industry was created the way it was created, was to aid in killing off the people. This is why they pushed out homeopaths and naturopaths. And this is why they dog on chiropractors. I don't know how many know this or not, but feel free to go fact check me. Chiropractors learn a hell of a lot more. These chiropractors, their schooling and their education and their testing is far more advanced than these doctors, pharmaceutical drug doctors. Okay? They know a lot more about our bodies than you would possibly think of. coming from just a chiropractor. One of the I think, most underestimated doctors out there is the chiropractor. So for those of you that have a chiropractor and maybe have already had some of this conversation with them, you already know. Those of you who have a chiropractor and didn't know this, go ahead. Open up a dialogue conversation with your chiropractor. Just ask him, what kind of schooling and education and testing did you have to go through? You'll be enlightened. Your chiropractor is a lot better doctor to go to than a pharmaceutical drug doctor. Okay? And I happen to know a couple pretty fantastic chiropractors that, holy crap, one of them, she's really smart. She helps a lot of people. And yeah, they can order blood draws, they can order MRIs, X-rays. I'm telling you, go ahead, fact check me. Those of you already know, go ahead. Post your comments that you already know this, that you can back up exactly what I'm saying. Yeah, I know. How you doing, brother Mark Bond out there? Yeah, I've actually cut back on a lot of my sweets. My Hostess chocolate cupcakes, the ho-hos, the Twinkies, and the Zingers, and all the good chocolate, fancy good stuff, and Snickers and Reese's, and even a lot of fast food stuff. Like I don't eat at McDonald's anymore. I've actually kind of cut McDonald's out starting a long time ago. But it's really hard to even go to the store and buy anything from the store because it's all full of just poisonous crap. So, in a way, some of these, what I think is some of these plants, caught on fire, exploded, and all this stuff, that's part of the deep stater stuff. That's part of the plan. They're taking them out. You can't sit here and say that doesn't exist here in the United States. So we're perfect. We don't have any of that. No, we do. It's right here in our own backyards, folks. So, people are freaking out. We're going to have a shortage of food and all this kind of stuff. Yeah, if you want to call it food. And some of those plants I explained before, some of them plants, warehouses and that kind of stuff, they may just been a fake front. And, this is one of those situations where, you got the truck full of kids that you just kidnapped and you're transporting them over here to this warehouse, and then you go into the warehouse and you go underground and you hit this tunnel and they're just gone. They're just fronts. They're not even a real legitimate business. They may have a business license, they got a sign, their paperwork shows that they're doing this amount of business, but ain't nothing going on through there. It's all a front. So, that seems to have subsided a little bit here over the last 6 to 8 months. We haven't heard a whole lot of, meat processing plants or any kind of, big warehouses or anything like that. Haven't really heard of any of those things happening. That's because they already been taking them out. So, again, Trump back in 2018 there, instructed the military to start training for deep underground military warfare. Why would he instruct the military to start training for deep underground warfare if they weren't going to be going underground? And what's underground? Right? Yeah, it shifted to train derailments. Well, that's another way they've been transporting their kidnapped victims. Because we all know the evil's not just going to throw up their hands and say, okay, we give up. We'll go ahead and stop now. That's not how that works. You're delusional if you think that's how that works. When you're facing evil, they don't give up. They just don't. They will fight to the death. And that's where we're at. We're at World War. And with some of these people, we got to fight to the death. And that's what's going on. Yeah. How about that missing 60,000 pounds of ammonium nitrate? Is that stuff explosive? Yeah. Fertilizer. Yeah, fertilizer. Mixed with the right things, yeah, that could be, be very highly explosive. So, yeah. Lots of stuff been going on. Yeah, right? From law to health. Well, it's all part of the law stuff going on. Right? It's all unlawful what they're doing. And that's the key to this. Of knowing what's really going on. And I'll say it again, I've said it many times. Go outside. Exercise your rights. And then come talk to me when you're getting accosted. Until then, a lot of this crap that you see on TV that says it's happening, it ain't happening. Okay? If you haven't learned by now that mainstream media is fake news, propaganda, I don't know where you've been hiding, but right? Yeah. The for those of you old enough to remember the Oklahoma City bombing, yeah, that was only 2,000 pounds, according to Thor out here. I do vaguely remember it was about 2,000 pounds. Yeah. Mixed up in some 55-gallon drums in the back of was it a Ryder truck? It was a Ryder truck. But, yeah, I mean, that stuff's highly explosive when you mix it with other things. It makes a big bang. It really does. And I'm not gonna say what those other ingredients are, but if that's something you want to look into, you can do your own research on that. But yeah, it goes boom, really big. So back to, basically what's going on again. These deep underground tunnels and all that stuff, we felt earthquakes and they're blowing them up underneath. And they're cutting off of their passages. And so this is part of why the whole train thing is starting to happen. is because they're running out of ways to transport their victims. And I've showed this before, a couple different pictures of the rail cars that were wrecked, showing a vague picture of the train derailment, but yet if you zoom in and look real close, there's beds, mattresses laying on the floors of some of these train rail cars. So what do you think that means? I mean, what would they be transporting in there? And then they use the chemicals as a cover, like, oh, okay, you want to mess with us and you want to take us out? We're gonna spill chemicals and we're gonna cause poisonous damage to your surroundings, to your land and your water. So again, we're at war. It could be much worse. I could say that. It could be a lot worse. I mean, technically speaking, it could be way worse if Hillary Clinton would have won. If Hillary Clinton, their plan for her to come in and basically start executing the Agenda 21 process of coming in door to door and taking the guns. That was pretty close to the next step. After Hillary Clinton would have gotten in, and they were going to murder most of the men and any women who wanted to stand up. And what was left over would have to have, the one section was go door to door and take the guns. And the next section was to, because of the previous section and what we're going to do there, we're going to have to set up essentially FEMA camps for the women and children that are left. Now wait a minute. What do you mean? One, just women and children? And what do you mean by that are left? And why would you need to provide a place for them to go if all you're doing is coming in and taking the arms? So one of those times where, reading between the lines there and picking up what they're laying down, which is go door to door, find the guns, kill all the men, kill all the women that are patriots that would stand up, take up arms, and try to fight. And what do you have left? Some docile women and young children. Yep. So, I don't know. Well, okay, so the question out here is what are my thoughts on the illegals crossing the southern border? It's the same thing again. One, to do the voter rolls, right? To mess with the voter rolls, because here we come. It's election cycle again. Number two, a lot of it are these able-bodied male-aged men coming over. And I'm sure they're going to want to try and fight with us. Okay? So, again, we may need to prepare to defend ourselves, which is another reason why I think that this is why this has been coming out with, like, the Bruin case. That was June of 2022. So almost a year ago now. And then the Rahimi case, which I've showed both of those cases here live and read through them a little bit. The Rahimi case, they actually put the Rahimi case on hold, which was out of the Fifth Circuit of Texas, pending the outcome of the Supreme Court case and the Bruin case. Okay, and that was the New York case where these guys, how New York used to be able to do it. This case shut it down. That you had to basically prove why you needed to carry an arm. This isn't for concealed carry. This is just regular open carry. Okay? In New York. And then you got approved or not. And these guys didn't get approved. Well, you didn't make a clear distinction of what you, really, the necessity. And so this was the big case, right? And this is why. Why all of a sudden is the Supreme Court making it very loud and clear that no, the right to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed, and that right comes from the laws of nature, is the right of self-defense. Why now? I hope that helps answer your question about what's going on, the illegals crossing the southern border. It should be a good indicator there, if you're picking up what I'm laying down here. Now, they're still trying to, bring in child trafficking and that kind of stuff as well. I talked to my buddy Jonathan Townsend. He's down there on the border, right? He's got his camp down there set up right close to the border, and he's border watching. And he's had certain members of Congress and representatives come down there, and he's escorting them around down there with armed men, because that is not a place for people to be going that aren't armed, let alone that are armed. So they're getting pretty desperate down there, giving some of the fencing that has gone up has, dramatically slowed down their ability to easily come across the border. And it's narrowing it down to certain sections where there isn't for them to come through. Because we all know they're not going to come through a port of entry. So, there's the thing is that that these guys may be used for evil purposes. Once it gets to the point where they're just about done, right? They may try to unleash all of these people on us. I mean, there's so many different things that the bad guys are out there doing. Spraying the chemicals in the airs, putting it in our food, in our water, the pharmaceutical industry, all the vaccines, everything pharmaceutical stuff. As well as just straight up just killing people and kidnapping people off the streets. Trying to destroy the land by chemical spills from the trains. There's so many different things that they're trying already and have been doing for a very long time. But we're definitely seeing this uptick of crazy stuff going on that's detrimental, right? Right, Mark? Sorry to hear that. Mark over here on YouTube says his friend Jimmy has been missing from down there for 6 months now, and he's think he wasn't careful enough, and that's a very high possibility. It ain't no joke down there. Well, Ralph, good thing we're not asking the judicial or executive branch. But that's not actually the judicial or executive branch that you're talking about. But yes, it's very dangerous down there, and we're just going to have to essentially grin and bear it for right now and do what we can do on a local level, what's directly in front of us. And now with another conversation that I had with National Assembly is that, and I know Destry's already come out and talked about this a little bit, is that we need to reassemble. There is no ifs, ands, or buts. That's the way this is going to go down. That at some point in time, the military is going to come in, and they're going to take down these courts and the executive and the legislative, all these people, all the corrupt that's at a state level, city, county, state level. It's coming. And for those that are assembled, you'll be able to take off. For those that are not assembled yet, you'll need to get assembled right away. But as much as we've talked about this, people just, I don't know. I honestly am kind of just, I don't know, just at a loss here, because just can't find the same people who want to do something, who want to do what needs to be done. Got a lot of talkers out there. I don't know what else to do. I refer back to the Declaration of Independence that people are more willing to sit there and suffer than to right themselves and throw off such despotism and institute new guards for their security and safety. That's where we're at, again. Okay, let me repeat that for you, for those in the back there that just can't get it through to your thick skulls. This is a military operation. Yes, the military is going to come in and take down the corruption. Wake up, people. We are at war. World war. Yes. The good guy, military, is going to come in and take down your local city, county, and state level. Have to be told this and shown the executive orders on how this all works. I just cannot get it through to you people. Some of you, anyways. Frickin' negative Nancy's, and forgive me out there, Karens. There's a couple of Karens that are good ones over here, but, y'all want to talk negative crap? Take that somewhere else and get it off my channel. I'm done with your shit. Seriously. And I've been removing people off my channel who are negative Nancy's and Karens. I'm just done. I'm not going to tolerate your bullshit no more. I'm sick of this crap. I've laid this stuff out pretty well several times, And I've been talking about it for 6, almost 7 years. And if you ain't got it yet, I don't think you'll ever get it. But I'll keep repeating it, because some of you need to hear it a few times. And like I said earlier, I get it. Even I do on certain days. Just like, man, why is this not happening yet? Why is that not happening yet? Well, because not even I know the big full picture, right? I'm not in the need to know. Nobody's given me a bulletin, a TPS report. Trying to make a funny there. For those who remember Office Space, TPS reports. You know, I don't get those. I got to pay attention to what's going on out there. I got to listen to a couple of my sources that tell me what they're doing, what's going on. And then I try to relay that to you folks. You know, I've showed the letter of the law. I've showed the executive orders. I've showed case law that talks about it. It's happening, whether you believe it or not. I could care less whether you believe it or not. That's on you. I know, right? Common sense is not common, and it's not. But, you know, many people have comment out here is it's amazing many people have lost anything to do with common sense. You know, some of the stuff that I've laid down, I've provided the evidence of what's going on. I've shown it to you. Now, I can't show you the executions, clearly. But you got people like Monkey Works, who shows you military aircraft going down to Gitmo. Flying all over the world and going to Gitmo. I mean, that's as close to as much evidence as we're going to get. Why so many military planes? And over the last, 6 to 8 months, we've had an exceptionally high amount of military planes in the air moving around. You know, upwards of almost 200 more per day in America. Now that's one of those reading between the lines things, okay? You ask yourself, well, what would the reason be of having an exceptional amount, exceeding by well over 200 military aircraft? Well, where are they all going and what are all they doing? Good question. Why are they going to Gitmo? Why are they going over there and then over to here and then over to there? Come on, people. Put 2 and 2 together here. Right, Leslie? Yeah, Leslie from Missouri there. She's part of the National Assembly stuff there. And, same things that she's saying out there. She's flabbergasted the people that she knows who do not want to get off their butts. They complain but won't get involved. It is infuriating. It is. And maybe that's just, again, back to the Declaration of Independence. People would much rather sit there and suffer rather than stand up and do something about it. And I'm talking about doing the right thing, doing what needs to be done here, which is reassemble the government de jure. What we have right now is a continuity of government set up by Trump and the military. This is setting up that provisional government pending the outcome of the war. And this is what I'm referring to right now, is the fact that the military is going to come in, the good guys. They're going to come in and they're going to take out the corruption within the states here real soon. And that's the word on the street over there with the National Assembly. So, take it or leave it. I don't care. It's coming. And for those of you that don't think so, I'll be telling you I told you so when it does happen. Okay? Any other thoughts or comments out there, folks? Did you get a little interruption over there, Mark, on YouTube? Surprised to see I'm broadcasting on YouTube, huh? Well, this will be the test, right? See if YouTube's been put on their haunches. My next hearing is on the 7th. It's just a pre-trial conference to play the game. Oh, and of course I got the offer from the prosecutor to, for me to plead guilty, take a plea bargain. Yeah, okay. That's not going to happen. Yes, I did want to put the plug in there for the national-assembly.net. And I want to remind people that, or inform new ones that are not aware, the national-assembly.net, that's for education stuff. It's not an actual national assembly. Okay? It's about educating the people, bringing the people together, how to assemble their state assemblies. How to do the paperwork and get that done. Okay? And make no mistake, they're working with certain military personnel behind the scenes there. And okay, you're not talking about me. Yeah, if you do go over to the national-assembly.net, take a look at that. In fact, why don't I just do this real quick? Yep, this one. Okay, this is the national-assembly.net website. Here's a link to your state websites. I'm surprised my Idaho one isn't on there yet. Here it is. Conference call information. You click on that. Here's the link. Right here. Join the online meeting. This is Thursday nights. So, Thursday night at 6 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Mountain, 8 p.m. Central, 9 p.m. Eastern. And you can download and install the free conference call app on your phone or for your desktop, laptop. Here's 2 tutorial videos, one for your smartphone and one for your computer. Okay, and then you'll just click on this link after you've installed that, or you can just do it right from here, right? I would put out the plug that for those that do join, especially for the first time, mute yourself. Okay. A lot of people don't grasp the concept of decorum, and that the first part is the first part of the call is actual business stuff. Then the second part is the general discussion, education, the Q&A stuff. So for the most part, nobody even really needs to be unmuted unless you're going to speak to begin with in the very first part of the session. Now, once we switch over and go into the general discussion, the Q&A, and the education, you still don't need to be unmuted unless you're going to attempt to speak. And the decorum there, may I? And then you have to wait to be granted the floor. You don't just get to just start talking and talk over the moderator. This is kind of an organized, or trying to be an organized thing, but some people just don't get decorum, how to properly conduct themselves in a group setting where there are, 100 to 200 people on this call. You have to be recognized and given the floor to speak. But this is the legitimate one that's working with the military. Okay, this is part of the one that was Carl Miller was part of. And like I've said before, for those that might be new here, I've already been down a few different rabbit holes on different attempts, or people out there attempting to do this stuff. And this is the legitimate one. There's a reason why I haven't done any of that other stuff, was because I just found too many things wrong. And the number one question I go to now, which I don't need to, but do you have military support? And everyone that I've asked that to, they say, well, no. One said, well, we've been visited by the military, but they said they wouldn't support us. There you have it. And a recent conversation was, just to let people know, anybody out there trying to do some of these common law grand juries outside of doing this properly, you're screwed. Coming from the military, they are looking for those people, and they will be going through and arresting those people. So be prepared. If you're involved in any of that kind of stuff, I'm just putting out a warning. Just saying. Take it for what it is. Another one of those, I told you so after it happens. But this is the main one to get you to the conference call. And get on that. Listen in. Pay attention. Ask questions if you got questions when it's time. Not during the business portion of it. But when the business portion ends and we get into this over here, that's the second part. That's the good time to be asking any questions, introducing yourself as new. You can even contact people. Say, hey, I'm from this state. Who do I get in contact with? And that's going to take you to contactmanager1@yahoo.com. Now there's here's your the assembly introduction video. If you want to watch that to kind of get started, get yourself acquainted with what's going on here and what's already been done. This is, I wonder if you got my video on. Yep. This is where I've laid this out, where state national, American state national, only exists through United States Code. So, if you can only find it in the code, and the code is part of the corporation, what are you going to cite as law when the code goes away? And this is etymology here, is as a noun, didn't come into existence until 1887, and is a citizen of a particular nation. And that's where we got to comprehend and understand what a citizen is. Citizens are the members of the civil society who are bound to perform certain duties. Members and bound. That is Article 6, Clause... Oh, yeah, right here. Article 6, Clause 3. The senators, representatives before mentioned, and the members of the several state legislatures and all executive and judicial officers, both of the United States and of the several states, shall be bound by oath or affirmation to support this Constitution. That is a citizen. The public servants are the citizens. We are the inhabitants. As distinguished from citizens are foreigners who are permitted to settle and stay in the country. Bound to the society by their residence, they are subject to the laws of the state, which is the common law. While they reside in it, and they are obliged to defend it, because it grants them protection, though they do not participate in all the rights of citizens. That would be them political rights. Here's an explanation of a person. Right? Kirk's Law Corner LLC is a person. Fictions. Anywho. So let's go back to home. Asked to post that link to the National-Assembly over here on Telegram. It's national-assembly.net. Yes, thank you, Rob. Brother Rob over here. From the Law of Nations, in the Book 1, The Preliminaries. It is a settled point with writers on the natural law that all men inherit from nature a perfect liberty and independence, of which they cannot be deprived without their own consent. Law of Nations, Book 1, Preliminaries on the Laws of Nature. So, that's the root of all law, folks. And our rights come from God, from the laws of nature, natural rights, not civil rights, and we don't have constitutional rights. technically speaking, there's only natural rights and political rights. So, for those out there that may be new to this, make sure that you get in contact. Send an email to content manager 1 and say, I'm from this state. Who do I get in contact with? And you go through them to get in contact. Okay? Unless somebody's on here specifically, and even then, could be infiltrators here too. But there's some people that I do trust. Uh-huh. All right. So, I expect to see the numbers jump up Thursday night. It has actually jumped up quite a bit since I started talking about it on my show. So, thank you for those that have paid attention, who have gone over there. And, just like anything else, we're dealing with some infiltrators and attempted to thwart what we're doing here. They don't want us to properly reassemble. We kind of interesting on the National Assembly call. We've been getting a couple people from Canada on there, so please feel free to join us on there. I know that's not, technically speaking, one of the 50 continental contiguous whatever states, but in my mind, Canada is supposed to be part of the nation called America, part of the Articles of Confederation. Our brothers from the north in Canada, you were part of this deal back in 1776. So, yep. Around hiking up and down the mountainsides there, playing in the snow, even looking for morels. And boy, did I get sore there for about a day. But that was okay. I needed it. Definitely needed the exercise. I haven't done any hiking like that in a while, so. National-assembly.net should be available. I was just on it. Just went right to it. Thank you, Tiger. And thank you all for the kind words up there while I was up there in intermittent connection up there. Was able to check on things a little bit, but was trying to stay away from my phone. It's amazing that we'd actually get cell phone service up there, because if I recall, last year we didn't have cell service up there. I had to ride my dirt bike quite a ways back from our other campsite, which wasn't able to get to because where we camped last year, there's still snow there. Snow across the road. Couldn't get across the road. Couldn't get through another 3 or 4 miles up there where we camped last year for Memorial Weekend, which had a big pile of snow right next to where we set up our tents, but the road was clear enough to get in there. We were able to make it through after some side by sides or whatever pushed through some of that snow on the roads and blasted a path through there. We were able to get up in there and find where we camped last year, but there was no way to get into the camping spot because that was all buried in snow. So we got a little bit more snow this year than we did last year, and it didn't warm up as fast this year as it did last year, not as early. It warmed up a little bit earlier last year than it did this year. So there's a lot more snow still up there. My brother went back up with his mom this weekend. This Saturday he went up there, and still covered in snow. The camping spot where we camped last year. So it's slowly melting off, but it's probably going to be another couple of weeks before, maybe even 3 weeks before the rest of that snow. Usually by the end of June, the snow is gone. So, yeah, good times. Definitely enjoyed it, even though I tweaked my back and was in serious pain there for much of the one night and through half of the next day, no matter what I did. But overworked myself lifting stuff and shouldn't have been doing it, but I did. But hey, gonna have some fun, right? And I did. I did have a good time relaxing, and weather was just perfect there Saturday night for our barbecued up dinner. We did baked potatoes, steak, and beans. Cooked over the fire there, and yeah, it was good. Nice, perfect weather for us to do that. Did do a little bit of raining here and there, but not too bad. But I'm going to be doing a whole lot more of it this year. I've been immersed in all of this stuff for 6 years, and I've put a lot of my fun stuff on the side. And then last year I was determined to go until I wiped out on the first ride after I fixed my dirt bike. Fell down and cracked my rib, broke a rib. So that put me out of commission for last year. So I'm definitely ready to go this year. Now that's the thing. That's what keeps me in shape. That's what I used to do to stay in shape, was to go dirt bike riding, to go hiking, to do all that hard, grueling stuff on a regular basis, at least twice a month. Aside from even like sneaking off after work, just take the dirt bike out to the desert here and go riding after work during the week. It doesn't get dark here until about 10 o'clock this time of year. So, I'd get off work at 5 or 6 whenever I decided to quit working and just go riding. But that kind of has been on the wayside for the last 6 years. So it's definitely time for me to take some breaks this year and go camping and dirt biking. Enjoy the outdoors again and do it while I still can. Right? Everyone needs time away from real life in order to deal with real life. Yes, we need a mental break before we have a mental breakdown. So, just throwing that out there. Much love, everybody. Thank y'all for your kind words and your comments, your love, and everything that you guys are here for. I appreciate that you're here. I love that you guys are here, and some of you have been here following me for quite some time. Kathy Watson, one of them. She's one of the ones that's been there from pretty much the beginning. Yeah, James Skin, who's all over the place. He's a little moderator kind of guy over there on YouTube for me. I'm not even watching YouTube, so I hope you're watching that over there. Fix it. And yeah, Rob, and oh man, there's so many of you guys there that are on my Patreon. Our Wednesday night workshop on Patreon. If you're not aware of that, go to my website, kirkslawcorner.com. Get connected up there on Patreon. And again, if you want to just help support what's going on here, $5 or $10 a month, do that first. Tier 1, Tier 2. This is the stuff I'm basically providing for Tier 1, Tier 2. Tier 3 is the Wednesday night workshop. That's a private Zoom meeting for those in Tier 3. And then Tier 4 is for one-on-ones. If you need some one-on-one time specifically with me, you can get in there on that. And then look for the Calendly post. It's like second or third post down right now. I may actually add that into the original, or if I already did or not, the original pinned post, and I can only pin one. So may end up incorporating it in that for scheduling the one-on-ones. And that seems to be working fairly good now. People can set up, basically all I have really right now available is Tuesdays and Saturdays. I may end up taking the Saturdays down and try to maybe even do some Tuesdays and Thursdays. But Tuesdays is pretty much one of my main days that a little bit free. So seems to be working. People are setting up their one-on-ones through that, so that's working. All right. Other than that, hopefully you'll get over there on the national-assembly.net. And, I want to do a plug out there for his hardline. There's a link on there, too, for some of his videos, which him and I did one together. Great video together. And he's got other people and, some people that have some knowledge on that stuff that I don't have. Doing some great video stuff out there, educational stuff. So, what's the other gentleman's name? Forgive me, brother. He's putting stuff together, and I need to get him on, and we'll go through that as well as the military manual, citizens manual thing. He's got it broke down into some PowerPoint stuff, really good stuff. So we'll have a special Monday Night Law for that here coming soon. So look forward to that, hopefully. And much love, everybody. Have a wonderful night. Thank you all for being here. God bless. And food, water, keep your powder dry, folks. Be prepared for whatever. Power outages, anything. Because it may happen. All right. Good night, everybody. God